So we've reached the third portion of our Access project for IFSM 201, and it involves bringing in yet more data. So far, we have a table about employees, and I can see that that has the employee's ID and name and so on and so forth. We have a table about systems with a company serial number and then the particular system unit and the price and the processor and RAM and storage and all that other good stuff. What we're missing is the bridge that ties these two tables together. So in my company, when an employee takes responsibility for a desktop or a laptop or a cell phone, they sign a hand receipt, and I'm tracking which employee has which system by noting on that hand receipt the employee's ID number and the system serial number. So that data was being tracked previously in Microsoft Excel. You can see out here in the table or in the spreadsheet 201 equipment, we've already imported the information about systems. That extra information about who has which system is on the page called assignments. Now we could walk through the same sort of import that we did to get the system information, but there's actually another way of getting the same data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make certain that in Access all of my tables are closed so that there's nothing interfering. And then out here in Excel, I'm going to select the range on the assignment sheet, everything from A1 through C13. That includes the column headers up here and all of the data that I'm interested in. And then I'm going to copy that information and minimize Excel. And then here at Access, I'm just going to right-click and paste. Access asks me, does the first row of your data contain column headings? Why, yes, it does. I'm going to say yes, and it has imported the table assignments. In fact, if I open it up, I can see the same data here that I saw a minute ago in Excel. Now, what it didn't know, it chose the field names, employee, student ID, or system ID, and hand receipt. It's chosen data types, text, and number. Number is incorrect. I'm just lucky that all of these started with a 1, 2, 3. So what I'm going to do is in Design View, I'm going to change hand receipt from being a type number to a type text. That way, if there's ever a hand receipt that starts with a 0, it will keep that leading 0. And I'm also going to set hand receipt to be the primary key. Now, again, I know that this is the primary key because this is data that I'm familiar with. When it comes to building real-life databases, you will also know your data well enough to know which is the unique identifier. So having done that, I'm going to, yes, switch to the surface view and save the table, and that's what it looks like. So we've got all the information that we need. Now, who is employee number 1, and what is this C127 that they have? Well, as a human being, I could go and look in the table about employees and say, oh, employee number 1, that's Lisa Perkins. And C127, well, let me look it up. C127, it's a Samsung Galaxy smartphone. Instead, we need to let Access know that the employee field in the table about assignments is the same as the employee ID in the table about employees. And the place that we do that, I'm going to close all the tables again, we do that here under Database Tools Relationships. So I need to let Access know how table employees is related to the assignments table, which is related to the table about systems. So I'm going to show all 3 tables and then close this extra show table box, stretch things out so I can see what I'm doing. Now, I believe that the employee ID, EMP01, in the table about employees, it's the primary key, is the same exact data as the employee field in the table about assignments. So I'm going to grab and drag that employee ID over to the appropriate field, and a box pops up that says, are you sure that EMP ID in the table about employees is the same thing as employee in the table about assignments? I am. I'm going to check the box that enforces referential integrity, check the box that cascades the update of related fields. It's a one-to-many relationship. I'm comfortable with that, and I'm going to hit create. Now, ideally, you'll get a one-to-many relationship. If you get an error, don't despair. All it means is that you've mistyped one of the employee IDs either in the table about employees or in the assignments table. They don't match. Maybe you've got EMP01 or EMP space 01. You have to go back and make certain that it's EMP01, EMP02, all the way through EMP05. All right, so we've got that relationship established. We're going to establish a relationship as well between the table about systems and the table about assignments. I'm confident that the company serial number, C123, for example, in the table about systems, grab and drag, is the same thing as the system ID in the table about assignments. Company serial number in table systems, system ID in table assignments. Check the top two boxes and create. Now, I would read this as one employee can be assigned many different pieces of equipment. So for example, your employee 01 can have a desktop and a laptop and a cell phone. And that one piece of equipment can be assigned multiple times. Your employee 01 may hand in her cell phone, and you may choose then to assign that same cell phone to somebody else. So that's the logic behind these relationships. I'm going to go ahead and close the relationships window now. The relationships themselves are established. So when it asks me if I want to save the changes to the layout, it's just basically remembering how I've kind of resized things and arranged things here. I will save the changes only because if I ever have to come back and look at it again, it's nice to have everything laid out the way that I'd like it. So we have imported our final table. We've established solid relationships with referential integrity, one-to-many relationships. And in a few minutes, we'll move on to our very last page, our last query, our form, and a report.